Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of Manifesting Muslimah. I'm your host, Zara Pedersen. And before we dive into today's episode, I just want to give a quick little disclaimer. I'm currently still in Sicily while recording, and I'm recording from this little tiny house that I live in, which used to be like an old refrigerator truck, like the back of a truck. And it's super cool. I'm really loving it. But it's a warm day today, and there's no air conditioning in this little conversion of a house. And I've got 3 dogs here, and it's been very warm. The fan is going in the background. The dogs are panting. They're starting to get irritable. So if there's any noise disturbances in the background, I do apologize for that. This is a good microphone that I record my episodes on, so it should be really good at, filtering out a lot of the background noise. But in case you can hear it, I do apologize. There's very little I can do about it outside of renting a professional podcast studio, but I don't have that kind of money. If you want to sponsor that, feel free. But other than that, please show me some grace here. That's probably going to be a regular recurrence from here on going forward for the next few months, because I will be staying in Sicily for a little while and the weather is only going to get warmer. So I do apologize about that. But yeah, just to give you a little bit of a heads up on that, I hope that you can show me some grace with that and continue listening and enjoying the podcast otherwise. Okay, so we are going to talk about a very interesting subject today. We're going to talk about the action that you can take if you are single and you want to manifest a marriage. This is a question I get so much, and actually, like just over a week ago or so, one of you, you know who you are, I'm not going to mention your name or anything, but you know who you are, slid into my DMs and started a little conversation with me in there and asked if I could speak about this on the podcast. And if you've been listening to more than one episode, you know that I implore you to do this. Please come into my DMs, have conversations with me, give me your feedback, ask questions, come up with suggestions for future podcast episodes. I love hearing from you. So don't be shy if you're sitting out there and you're like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Please do that on my Instagram account at Manifesting Muslimah, because I can send voice notes. I don't like texting very much, so a voice note is always that much easier for me, and it makes it that much more fun for me to have contact with you guys as well. I feel like it's more personal. You don't have to send voice notes, but I do tend to send them back. Okay, so yes. So what I was saying is that one of you actually sit in and asked me about this, and we had a little conversation back and forth. And the question was sort of like, well, what would the action look like? Because I'm kind of like, I don't agree with the fact that you have to sign up for dating apps if you are trying to manifest a marriage, or like, it's just it's a frustrating thing to be told, because once upon a time these dating apps didn't exist and people were still manifesting marriages. And I love this question, because I agree 100%. I think that it is a very lazy advice to give someone who is like, oh, I want to, meet a person. What should I do? And people are like, oh, download Minder, download, what's it called? Muzmatch. Tell your mum and your siblings that you want to get married. Tell your friends to spread the word. It's always the same advice. And while it is not bad advice, it is lazy. It is lazy AF. And personally, I think we need to I'm just going to go on a little detour here. Stop giving lazy advice. If you can't give good advice, stop giving it. At least stop giving lazy advice. Just stop giving any advice. If you can't give anybody other advice than the lazy one, then just be like, hey, listen, I can only give you the advice that you probably can get like on a Google search or whatever, like a quick little Google search, like the lazy stuff. And I trust that you're an intelligent person and you already know this, so I'm not going to, frustrate you with that. So I'm not going to say anything, but if there's anything else I can help you with, let me know. But let's just normalize not giving out lazy advice, because as a divorced woman who's now on the market again, I'm not on the market looking for a relationship or anything like that. But if I were, and I said to people, oh, I'm really interested in meeting somebody again, one of the most frustrating things you could tell me is like, oh, download Minder, download Muzmatch, just tell your mum and dad. No, thank you. I'm good. Because it's just lazy. It's lazy advice. So that's definitely not the advice you're going to get from me today. And also, I don't believe that that is the route for everyone. I can think just off the top of my head, at least 3 people whom I know who have met their actual like marital spouse, men and women, from dating apps, and they're quite happy, have children, all the things. But I know more people who have met their spouse in other ways. So while I know that it works and it might be the right thing for some people, I also understand that for the majority of people, it will probably not be the right move for them. So in that case, what do you do? Okay, so here's the thing. If you have read my book, Manifesting Muslimah, everything in my world is called Manifesting Muslimah, but the book Manifesting Muslimah, A Guide to Use the Law of Attraction from an Islamic Perspective, it's going to be linked in the show notes, so just go and click that if you haven't read it yet. I have a 7-step framework to using the Law of Attraction from an Islamic perspective, and the 3rd step is to take action. And this is also one of the steps that a lot of you get caught up on, because it's like, well, what do I do here? What do I do there? So it's not just my listener who slid into my DMs who've had this question about, well, what does action look like if you're single? So that's what we're going to talk about today. If you want a more in-depth breakdown of what I'm discussing today, I do have a course called Manifest Your Marriage. It's an e-course. You can sign up to it at any time. It's also going to be linked in the show notes, and it's linked everywhere that I have links and stuff like that, of course. But that's going to take you through the journey of how to use the law of attraction to manifest not just a marriage, but the right marriage, like the correct partner and things like that. Okay. So that is that'll take you literally step by step, and it'll take you from running around frantically like a headless chicken, just being like, I don't know what to do, what I'm doing, how do I know if I've got the right person, if it's not the right person. It will literally take all of that away and get you into that journey of manifesting the right marriage and the right partner into your life with more ease, less stress, with more clarity also on your end and what you're expecting of your partner, and also all those things, and give you the ease and remove the desperation that is needed in order for you to manifest from a place of intention, intuition, and that sort of divine, where you can allow the divine interventions to come in and guide you. So if you're looking for something that is more in depth, absolutely go and check that out. It is linked in my bio. Not in my bio, but also in the show notes, but also in my bio. But anyway, it's linked anywhere that you could be linked. Sorry, my darling. I'm so sorry. Did I scare you? Oh, I apologize. Anyway, so let's start. So what could action also look like outside of potentially, if that's the route you want to go, downloading apps and whatever? So the first thing that I will absolutely tell you is, and you know, it will be applicable for some of you, maybe not for the rest of you, but if you have been raised with some less than healthy relationships around you, whether it be from your mum and dad, your grandparents, your siblings with their partners, whatever, or in general that you have low self-worth, that you don't think very highly of yourself, that you're struggling to understand what you're bringing to the table as a person, and you feel like you have to overcompensate, blah 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 blah, the first thing that I will tell you is a really good piece of action you can take is to invest in a therapist or a coach or someone who can help you delve into understanding your value and your worth as a single woman and as a potential spouse for somebody else. And I know that this can sound a little bit weird, like, oh, why do I need therapy? I'm perfectly happy and fine. I'm not like crazy. I don't have what's it called? Depression. I say what's it called? Like I have depression, but like you might be like, oh, I'm not that person. Just do it. Trust me, this is not something you're going to regret. Even if you don't come from an unhealthy childhood or anything like that, sometimes we're holding on to things that can, be toxic to us or that can have a horrible influence on our partnerships and our marriages going like in the future. So it's always good to make sure that you're coming from a good position, that you have healed whatever it needs that needs to be healed within yourself, so that you can go into the relationship knowing that you've done the best coming from yourself, from what the things that you can control within yourself, which is also your mental health and your mindset, your expectations of a partner, your expectations of yourself. And a therapist or a relationship coach can definitely help you sort those things out if there is something like that. I can also, to some extent, help clients with some of these things. Obviously, traumas are very different. I am not a psychotherapist. I am not a psychologist. So if you've got like some deep traumas, I would 100% say you probably should be talking to a therapist about that, because I'm not a trauma expert. But if you're just thinking about, okay, so how can I, look at my self-worth? How can I get clear on the things that I want and need and all these things in a relationship? That is something that a coach like myself can help with. But be clear on what it is that you might need, and then take these steps to make sure that you're also fulfilling those needs for yourself before you enter a relationship. Some of these things you can also do for yourself. If it's not that deep, if it's not a big trauma or something, you might be able to do these things for yourself by following an e-course or reading a book about, like a self-help book about it or something like that. So be open-minded about this step, because I think this is definitely one of those things that a lot of us, and I did the same thing. So I'm not, trust me when I say I'm not throwing any stones, because literally I am a walking glass house. But a lot of us go into marriages or relationships thinking that the other person is going to complete us, because that's what we've been told, like, to complete your dean. But that is the dean. That is the dean. It is not to heal your traumas, to be your psychotherapist, to be your therapist in any way, to, excuse me, I'm just moving on the chair because I'm really hot and I'm really sweaty. I'm so sorry. But the partner is not supposed to come in and heal you or go in and do, damage control on what your parents have done or anything like that. Of course, they can be there and help and assist, but all of this has to come from you. So you want to go into the relationship not expecting to become a healed person simply because you're now in a relationship, but heal yourself. And while you're healing, you can, of course, go out and find a relationship. So it's not like you have to be a healed person before you can enter a relationship. You're allowed to still heal and be on that healing journey as you find a partner and get into that relationship. But make sure that you are so clear on the fact that, that person's not there to heal you. They can support you and motivate you through your journey, but this has to come from you, and you have to show that willingness to want to work on yourself as well before going into that relationship. And this is, as I said, something that I myself fell prey to, thinking that a relationship was just going to make things so much better, and then these things would just disappear and it wouldn't be a problem anymore. And to a large extent, my ex-husband did the same thing. And so we went into it, two very broken people, expecting the other person to fix each other's problems and brokenness. Excuse me. A marriage can't survive on that either, because we don't want to be each other's therapists. It very much removes the sexiness from a relationship and the excitement, because you're like, oh my goodness, you are a fucked up person. Okay, so maybe that's not necessarily what you're thinking, but this is, understand what the relationship is for, and don't push that kind of stuff onto your partner, that there is a very trained professional who can help you with. So that is 100% the first thing that I will say. If you're seriously thinking about looking for a relationship, a piece of action you can take is to figure out if you need, 1 second, guys, 1 second. Right, I'm sorry about that, guys. I try to make sure that the dogs are somewhat in a quiet state as I'm recording, but they're animals and I can't control them 100% of the time. So anyway, coming back to the point is, while it might sound like an unconventional step, I definitely see the benefits of working on yourself first and doing what you can to heal yourself first and make yourself a good partner before you go out and judge other people for their, things that they're lacking or what's making them a less good partner or whatever, because we're so quick to criticize the other person, and at the same time they're probably looking at us and thinking, but wait a minute, there's stuff that you could work on. So at this point, the first action step is take that mirror, point it at yourself, look at what you can do to become a better partner. And this is not just about how you look and your cooking abilities and whether or not you want to have children. This is very much a question about who are you as a person and what needs to be healed within yourself to make yourself a really good partner going forward. And so that there's nothing, or at least not nothing, but at least less stuff that could come up in the future that could sabotage you, your relationship, your marriage, your partner, your children, even for that matter. Okay, so that's the first thing that I will 100% say should be a priority when it comes to taking action. Another thing that I also speak about in the course Manifest Your Marriage is look at, the lifestyle that you're maybe hoping to get from a partner. Like if you're hoping to go on a lot of date nights, a lot of travels, you're hoping that you're going to dress up more, you're going to wear the fancy underwear, you're going to have a clean house, and you're going to do much more home cooking and be more active. My darling, nothing is stopping you from doing that already. So basically live the life that you expect to live once the partner comes in. This is how we do the quantum leaping, quantum jumping. If you've been in the law of attraction world for some time, you will have heard people talk about this relentlessly, and they complicate what is initially just a very simple thing. Quantum jumping, they say as if it's some kind of like a magic tool, like, oh, and then you're going to quantum jump into your new reality. Quantum jumping into your new reality is you making a decision and living by it. That is it. Like that is of course an oversimplified way of explaining the term, but that is essentially it. Bring the future into now. Bring the dream into now. So if you think that when I'm married, I'm going to be this person, okay, well, nothing's actually stopping you from being that person. So you can just do all the things now. Take the action that the future you would take. That is one way that you've brought that future into your existence right now. So wear the matching underwear, live clean, make more home cooked dinners, dress up for yourself, go to the gym, be more active, do the things that you think you would do more of as a wife, and bring that into existence now, because then all that's needing is the partner. And once you have asserted that this is the lifestyle you want to have with a partner, the right partner to support that lifestyle is also easier to come into your life, because they're not going to look at you and you have to be like, oh, no, but once we get married, we're going to do these. No. You're attracting from where you are right now. So if you want to manifest that kind of lifestyle with travel and you're active and this, then start living that lifestyle to the best of your ability right now. So, if the only thing that I can actually say that is maybe a little bit more difficult is like, if it's like the intimacy part, that you want a very sexual lifestyle, which don't we all want to have a marriage where the sex is well and truly good and alive and whatever, then, while you can't go out and, have sex, you can definitely see yourself more as a sexual creature. Maybe I should do a whole podcast episode. I'm like literally like a light bulb moment in my head, because I think this is such an interesting topic, because while we are raised to be modest and religious women, I think sometimes the idea of being a sexy person can go against that a lot. But sex has been sold to us for generations now as something that goes against religion and goes against modesty, goes against virtue, goes against all of these things. Meanwhile, Islamically, we're also told, and religiously, all religions talk about it, you have to satisfy your husband, your partner, your wife, whatever, all of these things. So talking about sexuality and being a sexy person and being a sexual person while also being modest and all these things, they can go hand in hand. So absolutely, start, living more into, I am a sexual creature, I am a sexy woman. And, when I manifest my partner, he's very much going to see me as this sexual little kitten at home. But outside, I'm a modest woman, and they don't need to know my business with my husband. But absolutely 100%, if that's the kind of stuff that you want to attract, then you need to start seeing yourself also as a sexual being. And I know that that can be very, very difficult when you're raised within that whole frame of modesty and religious, what's it called, piousness. You know what I mean. Anyway, I think I'm going to do a whole podcast episode on that. If you want that, please let me know, again, over on my Instagram. Or no, actually, if you're listening on Spotify, there's like this little survey on this episode where I'm going to ask, would you like this episode? And I'm going to write that, and then you can say yes or no. Because if you don't want it from me, that's totally fine too. But like, I would like to make it if you want me to make that episode. Anyway, so that's how you can, like, there are certain things that you can't do. You can't go out and have the sex and whatever. I mean, you can, nobody's stopping you. But, you know, your afterlife might not thank you for it. But, you know, so how would you manifest those things or make those things a reality? Well, you make it a reality by living in the energy of it, right? So that's the kind of actions. This is a couple of little things that, you know, you could do. Other things that you could do is take yourself out on dates, be more social, be more active, do the things that you want to do or you think you're going to do more of when you're married. Bring that into the now and be that person. That is literally the kinds of actions that you can take. And as I said, you know, while the option of signing up for a dating site and telling more people that you're looking and you're on the market and whatever work for some, it is a lazy piece of advice. But I do have to say that, of course, if that is the route that you want to go, then I'm not going to tell you not to, because as I said, I know people who have met their spouses from those kinds of apps and stuff. I mean, my ex-husband slid into my DMs on Facebook, you know, so I know that the online thing can very much be a new way of meeting people, but I want this not to be solely focused on where am I going to meet the person, rather, how am I meeting this person? How am I attracting this person into my life? And what am I energetically giving out to the world and attracting back? Because remember, the law of attraction states that like attracts like, meaning if you are a positive person, you're not going to attract negative people into your life. Well, you can, of course, but it's much harder for negative people to come into your life because you're basically you're not attracting that kind of people. You're more likely to attract more positivity, more positive people, more positive experiences, because your whole mindset and your energetic vibration is on a positive note. Meanwhile, if you're, you know, on a negative loop and a negative mindset and negative vibrations, that's what you're attracting more of. So we can really fine tune this specifically. One law of attraction coach, well, she's actually not even a law of attraction coach. She's actually a business coach, Katrina Ruth. And there was like a podcast episode years ago. She doesn't do this anymore. She's gone into Christian business and stuff. And, you know, really good. I'm super excited for her, you know. But years ago, she spoke about this, like how she has been very, like how she manifests a parking space everywhere she goes. You know, you can be very specific with what you want to manifest. Like, so make sure that you're also like vibrationally, energetically putting yourself in a position where you're actually attracting the thing that you want. And this is done by your actions as well, because your actions, you know, will boost your mindset and your belief system and all of these things, and everything goes hand in hand, which means it's not enough just to say the affirmations, you also have to take the actions, okay? Otherwise nothing is going to happen. So yeah, that is just a little bit of some actions that you can take. Don't forget that I do have the course Manifest Your Marriage. So if you're feeling very stressed out about, you know, wanting to find a husband and you're like, I've been making dua for long, nothing is happening, and you want to get into more of an ease and a flow state of manifesting and having so much more tawakkul and understanding the process of what it is like to manifest a husband outside of simply making a dua. And I say simply making a dua, knowing that it's the most powerful tool in the whole entire universe, you know, next to salah perhaps. But, you know, that there are things that we, being humans who have been given free will and will free autonomy to take actions and decide what direction our life goes in, also have to take some steps to make sure that the dua is also can be facilitated in one way or another by the actions that we take. So check out that course if you are looking for something to give you that little boost. It's going to be linked in the show notes. It's linked in every bio everywhere that I am. It's called Manifest Your Marriage. It's a one-time purchase. You'll have it for life or until I go out of business. Which we're hoping won't happen for many, 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 many years. But you should definitely go check that out. That could definitely be the best place for you to get started on this journey from a position of ease and flow instead of desperation and neediness. Yeah. Okay, my darling. So I'm going to leave this here now. If you are the girl who asked for me to discuss this in this episode, I know that I have deliberately left out a topic that we also discuss, which is qadar. But I'm going to do that in a separate episode. So you're actually going to get 2 episodes out of this one. So again, if you guys are sitting out there and you're like, oh, Zara, I actually think this would be a really cool topic for you, slide into my DMs again at Manifesting Muslima on Instagram, preferably. If you don't have Instagram, of course, you're allowed to, contact me over on TikTok. But do feel free to contact me. I also do have a Facebook, but just keep in mind that my Facebook, I don't really use it that much. But on there, I'm Zara Pedersen. That's my page. So you could also send me a message there if you don't have Instagram or TikTok. But it's not at Manifesting Muslima. That'll be at Zara Pedersen. Okay, my darling, I need to go stand in front of the fan and drink a cold glass of water because I am literally dripping. You know that thing when you can feel the behind your knee because you're sitting down and then you can feel the trickling of sweat down your calf? Yes, that is happening right now. It is utterly disgusting. The feeling of it is so disgusting. So I need to stop this podcast right here. So thank you so much for listening. And until next time, my darling friend, please don't forget to live in love.